Welcome, everybody, to the I Am Real Estate Show. I think for a while we haven't told you what the I Am stand for. That means integrity matters, and that's how we feel about real estate. You're here with Ray Smith, Sandra Johnson, and Danielle Johnson. We're pleased to have, for an hour today, we're going to discuss lending and borrowing with John Spurr, CEO and founder of Inspired Life Mortgage. How you doing, John?
Good, man. How are you?
I thought we're going to talk a little about USDA loans and also VA loans. Let's go into the VA portion first right now. And I'm hearing about some things that how do you think you can help VA borrowers who are having problems getting those VA loans approved?
Most recently, I had a veteran call me on Monday, and they had just said they had been recently declined by a lender here in town. And I had a conversation with him and just kind of worked through why they were saying it was declined and his unique situation.
Mm-hmm.
And there was some uniqueness to it, but he still met VA underwriting requirements. And as of today, we have him approved, and for about $25,000 more than the other lender he was working with was even trying to approve him for. And it's the experience level and understanding how VA works. And I get that type of call all the time. I talk to a lot of veterans who have been told no or that they don't have eligibility. And it's not that loan officers are bad. It's a product that a lot of people don't use and they don't understand it. And I've got 30 years of experience using it.
How many of the people that you talk to that have been turned down are you able to help? Because I know you helped one of our clients, and it was the same situation. They'd been turned down and then talked to you, and it changed their life.
I mean, it's almost all of them. I have a couple that had came in, a few veterans that have come in that have been turned down, and their current credit situation where they're at, they would not qualify. And they gave them a plan, and I followed up with them month after month to see if they're on the plan, and they eventually fell off. So, they just didn't want to do the work that needed to be done so that they could qualify for VA. But I don't ever tell anybody no. I always say that I'm going to come up with a plan to get you into a home. And that might take 3 months, 6 months, a year. It may take 2 years. It just depends on the credit situation and what you have for a down payment if you need it. But I don't like saying no. I like coming up with plans to put people in a home.
And that's not just for VA. I mean, that's across the board, right? Anyone who comes to you with a credit problem, you'll help them create a plan and try to get them to where they're able to buy a house.
Absolutely.
In the future.
It doesn't matter if it's Fannie, Freddie, FHA, VA, USDA. We sit down and look at your unique situation and, like I said, come up with a plan.
Do you guys charge to help people navigate their credit?
Well, the beautiful thing is I'm not allowed to make any money until a loan closes. So, I'll work with you for however long it takes for free because I'm not allowed to charge until we get you into the house.
I've had other lenders that referred our clients to a third party and said, go work with them and get your credit together and then come back to me when you've got it fixed. And so I love that you're doing that for them, and you're there from beginning to end to make sure that they're successful.
Absolutely. I mean, I have borrowers that I've done, good grief, the DeWitt family, I think we're on their 5th purchase in the last 6 or 7 years, and they started out with credit problems, and we worked through those, and they have 700 plus credit scores and just bought their dream home this year.
I love that.
I think your cradle to grave philosophy is what helps you be a better supporter for people who are looking for homes. And that's one thing that people need to know, that they have to come to someone who's trying to help them and not try to make money. Well, I'm trying to make money, but helping is always first on your plate.
Well, I learned a long time ago, if I do the right thing, I help people get into a home. I build a team of people around me like you guys with Indy Realty, and we all work towards a common goal of just getting people in a home. The paycheck comes. So I don't worry about the paycheck. I don't worry about, am I making money on this loan or not? How do I get people into houses?
Yeah, we've done one recently together, didn't we? Where we both looked at each other and went, "That was really great." It's not gonna keep the lights on for very long. But how good is it when you've got a family that has stepped up? They've done everything that you asked and had to push through and just persevere, and then to see them in that home and know that you just changed their life as well.
Yeah, no, that transaction had a little bit of everything. I know which one you're talking about. And I think all of us here worked extremely hard to get them into a home, but they were first-time home buyers, and they had small kids, and they're basically living in a family member's house for free and couldn't afford rent. And together as a team, we figured it out.
And they stepped up.
Oh no, they had to do some work, and they did it.
Yeah, no, and that's great because we can't fix things. When I first started real estate, someone told me, you can't want this for someone more than they want it for themselves. And I think that's still today is as true as ever.
Oh no, I can show you the path. You guys can show them the path. We can tell them exactly what they need to do, but sometimes you do have to put effort into it.
I think with that guidance, it helps them start from beginning to end. So not only now, so when they go for the next home, they now know what it takes to get there. And they also know they have some advocates. I think it's always good to know that if you are having problems, that you always have an advocate you can go to and say, hey, yep, that wasn't correct. Let's try it this way today and see what happens. You get them over the hump.
Yeah,
You do that greatly.
I'm sure you guys have the same thing. I have borrowers that call me, 6, 8, 10 months later. Hey, do you have a plumber? Do you have an AC guy? Do you know a roofer? Just because I was able to help them and I gave them good answers and correct answers, and I let them know that I have a lot of resources available to me. And I'm sure you guys have had the same experience. And
just this morning, I was texting. I'm getting my hair done. We're doing photos today, and I'm texting a previous client who's looking for somebody to do their windows. And they were not sure about the quote they got and said, who do you have? So I was able to share some contacts with our previous client too. But yeah, it's a long-term relationship, and we want to see them through because eventually they're going to sell that house and probably move up or move down or leave town. And we just, we value that relationship.
Yeah, we're talking a little bit about VA loans, and just in case you're there, and we're going to go to the break and talk a little bit more about USDA loans and maybe FHAs. Why don't you do us a favor and give your numbers out right now in case somebody with the VA loans is wondering how they can get a hold of you.
Yeah, you can get me on my cell phone anytime you want, 520-247-3610. That's 520-247-3610.
And what do you tell us what you love about the VA loan?
To me, there is no gray area with VA. It's very black and white. Either you meet the guidelines of the transaction or the loan, or you don't. There's no underwriter discretion. There's no third party making an ambiguous decision. It's very, very well-written guidelines. The other thing I really like about VA is DTI is not the determining factor. They look at...
No, you got to stop with those acronyms.
Debt to income.
There you go.
Debt to income is not the deciding factor. They use what's called residual income, and they look at all of your expenses, and they look at the income that comes in, and if you have X left over at the end of the month, your debt to income is not going to be what decides if you get that loan or not. I do come across that a lot of times where veterans said my DTI was too high and it was declined, and that's because lenders have overlays where they put an artificial debt to income in place. Fortunately for me, I have 29, 30 lenders that I work with, and so I have options and can get around that hurdle.
And that overlay, can you just briefly explain to the listeners what that means?
So, Fannie, Freddie, FHA, VA, USDA, they have a set of guidelines that they will buy loans at or insure loans at. Lenders can underwrite more stringent or have what is called an overlay, so that they only want loans that have a 700 credit score or above. So they'll say we only accept loans with a 700 credit score or above, even though VA says we can go all the way down to a 540. Okay. So that would be an example of an extreme overlay, but that's what they do. They make the guidelines tighter.
You're listening to the I Am Real Estate Show, and in addition to listening to us, you can connect with us personally. We're on Facebook at I Am Real Estate Show. We also have YouTube with past episodes, so check that out. Ask us questions. You can send us an email and reach out to us personally. We will return your messages.